I want to know if you remember something
Tell
because
me.
again, in the intro, I said you have positive vibes and you seem like a chill person. I told you that I think people meet for a reason. And you told me something that's resonated with me, but I forgot. Do you remember what you said?
People meet for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
Real Talk with Star Scorpio, season 8. On today's podcast, I'm sitting down with a young, talented artist who I met at the CNE this year. He was working at the station that we call hang time, I believe, where you hang and you try and hang on for 2 minutes. I started talking to him and I noticed something about him. He had positive vibes. I was just asking him about the game, the challenge, and then we got into another conversation. And that's when he told me he raps. And I said, you got to come on my podcast. So I want to hear about his journey through the rap game and growing up. So LITO, welcome to Real Talk with Star Scorpio. How you doing today?
Appreciate you, brother. That was a fantastic introduction. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Late night podcast, first one of many, and I'm here. I'm excited.
Sweet, sweet. Yo, so LITO, let's get this going. I always like to build a timeline on Real Talk, right?
For
So
sure.
first of all, yeah, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Mississauga.
Mm,
I moved to Toronto when I was about 4. And I just been raised in Toronto
mm.
ever since I
So
was 4.
so four. Okay, so you did school in Toronto. What was your school? What public school did you go to?
I went to Northley Elementary and middle school. So I'm near like Bayview and Eglinton area. It's a small community called Leaside.
Mm,
And yeah, it's a predominantly white neighborhood still, but still kept the flavor there.
yeah, yeah, I know Lee Side. And what high school did you go to?
I went to Leaside High.
You went to Lee Side. Yo, I remember
Yes,
going
sir.
to a dance there one time with my cousin, man,
Say
back in the
word.
day.
Good stuff.
Okay, how was your school days, man? I always ask my guests, especially because you're a rapper. So I want to see if it rings true for you too, because there's a
Mm.
certain course that a lot of rappers excel in and they like. But what did you like in school, subject
Honestly,
wise?
I loved math. I'm not
Mm,
gonna lie. I love math. I'm good with numbers. I've always been good with numbers. Something that I was never really good at was like English and like
oh,
writing. So
okay.
I don't know if that was the subject that you're talking about, but
Yes.
yeah, like it didn't really hit until like after high school. That's when I fell in love with writing and like just expressing my thought on paper. And I became a pretty good writer, not just musically, but like just expressing the way that I feel and like expressing my thoughts just on paper. Cause then I have a concise way to like express myself and like say what I mean,
Mm,
you know?
okay. So yeah, that you knew it. So half the guests that I interview that are rappers, at least half of them say English,
Mhm.
and they started writing poetry in school and then extracurricular after school and all that stuff. And then they
Yeah.
got their rhyme book. But drop your age so I know too.
I'm 23, turning 24 on December 18th.
December 18th. Oh, I got a friend with that birthday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's actually the guy who gave me that Pac-Man here.
Oh, that's
December
sick. I was going to
18th.
ask about that actually. That's sick.
Yeah, still works, still works.
Good stuff.
Okay, so math, you excel in math and
Mhm.
English. So what about home life too? You have siblings?
No, so I'm an only child. I have two half brothers, but I met them when I was super young and then just lost contact. But like our dad passed away, so like that was the only like connecting block there. And I just haven't seen them since. I'm sure in the near future we'll get together. Like we'll meet each other somehow. I've been looking online and stuff like that, trying to find their name with my dad's last name, but hasn't really worked out.
Yo, sorry to hear about your dad. And I know that feeling about the half siblings. I have a lot of half siblings too, and I'd like to
Hmm.
get to know them. And the age we're in now, it's kind of easy to find them. When I say easy, you have more resources, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah. Um, What's your background though?
So my background is a nice little mix. I've never heard anyone with this mix. I'm Assyrian,
Mm,
so like Iraqi, but back in the way back in the day, it was the Assyrian Empire, like
mm.
Babylonian biblical times. Assyrian and Dominican Black.
Yes, you. I love to hear the different um cultures and backgrounds of my guests, especially when I look at
Yes,
them
sir.
and and I met you too, man. You have that cool vibe. I'm telling you, man. You have that cool vibe,
Respects.
yeah, and I was wondering what you were, what your origins were, but I want to know if you remember something
Tell
because
me.
again, in the intro, I said you have positive vibes and you seem like a chill person. I told you that I think people meet for a reason. And you told me something that's resonated with me, but I forgot. Do you remember what you said?
I think it's this because like I sort of stand by this like for everything,
Mm,
but people meet for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
mm, bam.
That was it.
That was it,
Yeah,
man. That
trust.
was it. Yeah. Okay. Now, with the music, when did you start writing? When did the music start?
I've always been like listening to music and everything, and like it really started. Like I really started doing it when I came back from school. This is 2017, so legit almost 6 years now.
Mm,
And like that's when I started actually on like my journey. But I've been writing since like grade 9. Didn't really take it seriously. Didn't think it was something that I could do, but it was just an outlet for me. When I came back from school, I was like, all right, like let's take this seriously, full fledged. I invested everything I had to building my studio, getting my monitors, getting the mic, the pop filter, everything like that. I built up like an actual studio. My boy, a couple of my boys, they're in carpentry. They used to go to George Brown. Now they're off doing their own thing, but they helped me build like an actual booth, which is kind of sick. The only thing that it's missing right now is some plexiglass on the window, but other than that, it's treated very well. And I rent it out to some local talent in Toronto.
okay.
No
So,
one big, no one big. So I'm not going to name drop, but
yeah,
I'm just trying to hustle. That's it, you know?
yeah. And speaking of that, I seen you at the CNE and you were working there. When
Mm,
I see people that get jobs at the CNE, it feels like any young person, they have a lot of ambition, to work there. And it seems like that might be a part-time gig and you do something else. When did you start working? So we're going to get back into the writing in a minute. But
for
when did
sure.
you start working and get on that grind and that hustle?
I had my first job when I was like 13.
Mm.
It's funny because like you wouldn't expect this. I was making wine.
What?
So legally, before it's made, it's not alcohol. So I can touch the grapes, whatever, like that. It was an
Mm,
after school job. There's this place like right up the street from me.
mm,
And I was making the wine, like putting the grape juice, whatever,
mm,
fermenting it. And then as soon as it's past the fermentation stage,
mm.
I can't touch it. So I'm like, I bet. So was able to get my bread up there. And then I just bounce around job to job because I like to keep things fresh. I can't stay stagnant, especially if it's something that I know that's not my end all be all. I'm like, you guys are cool, whatever. I like the people that I work with most of the time.
Mm.
Sometimes you run into some weirdos, but it's not just about the people. It's literally just about the experience. You have to change up the scenery. And I've never found anything except I'll get into that after, but I haven't found anything like part-time that I really liked or wanted to make it a career. Like
Mm,
music's my career one, I would say,
mm.
but like my sales skills are out of this world. So I just got a job as a server at this new place. It's opening in 2 weeks. It's called Bar Primo.
Okay.
I'll name drop that because I want you guys to come through. But
All right.
it's right beside the Drake Hotel. It's supposed to be like a very high class, intimate restaurant. It's pretty small, but the price point is crazy.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, the Drake Hotel, is that on King Street? Like way in that West End, right? I haven't been that area in
Queen
a
Queen
long
Street, Queen
Queen
Street.
Street.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
It's deep. It's like Lansdowne, in between Lansdowne and Dufferin, I'm pretty sure.
mm.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah. So right now, are you still in the Leaside area?
Yeah, yeah. I'm living in the East Side area right now.
Hmm.
I was
And
downtown for a little bit. I was living with my girl,
mhm,
and it's just too expensive. I'm thinking about the future here, and especially like the job that I was working before just wasn't cutting it because I'm paying for this place because it has my studio in it, and then paying for me and my girl to live together. For the future, it's not feasible. But we're looking for another place right now.
yeah, that's good, man. Where did this hustle come from though? That's one thing. When I hear you speak, you seem well beyond your years. Even when I was talking to you in person and you said you're good at sales, and I could tell when I was talking to you about doing that hang time thing,
Yeah,
you're you're a genuine person, you're well spoken, and I know you're gonna go far in life.
I
But where
appreciate
did that
that.
hustle? Yeah, man. But where did the hustle come from? Is it innate, or did you learn from someone, or did you
I would
watch?
say I would say it's innate. You know,
Mm,
like especially like J. Cole says, no role models. But the role models that I had in my life, it was like, I'm not going to do what they do. I'm not going to go down the path that they went down type thing. So it's like what not to do.
mm,
So I had to instill that hustle young. I didn't grow up with much, especially like living in Leaside. I don't know if you guys know like about Leaside like that. You said that you went to a dance near here, but like just essentially being the poorest kid out of like everybody,
mm,
mom's living off welfare. It's like I need to do more to provide for her, one,
mm.
provide for myself, two, I'm gonna put her number one. She could do it herself, but if she chooses not to, then it lands on me. It doesn't have to, but like that's just the type of person I am. I take care of mine.
Mhm.
So yeah, honestly, just from young, like I knew I had to just go get it, like not everybody's good with money. I would say that I'm still learning at this stage,
Yeah,
even still like with the hustle that I have. But like I always make things happen. If like my back's pushed up against the wall, like I'm fighting.
yeah,
Easy.
yeah. Yo, respect. Um, so the thing I like about you too now, and I'm glad you gave me that background, and you're talking about money. There's a question here that you're gonna answer, and I'm excited to hear what you say to
Mm,
that question. But you probably learned to invest in yourself because even when you're talking about building the studio and things like that, I'm like, okay, you understand. Yeah, money, you can use it for fun and things like that, but you got to invest in yourself, right?
1,000%. So look, I gambled a little bit back in the day. I fucked up my money, but it's literally just like the only gamble that I know that I'm going to win at is
Mm,
investing in myself,
mm,
because it's all on you essentially. Like you can like risk it for a little bit more money over here, risk it for a little bit more money over there, whatever. But essentially, when you invest in yourself, you're putting that foundation and you're building that foundation because innate that you're building an empire,
yeah,
and like this is the groundwork. These are the first stones in order to build that castle that you want, that castle that I want at least,
mm.
you know?
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. Now back to the writing, Lido. Back to the writing.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
do you remember when you first wrote your first rhyme?
I wouldn't say like it's so clear in my mind that it's like, okay, like that was the time I wrote my first rhyme, but I remember the first song that I dropped on SoundCloud. I literally recorded in this back closet right here before my room was done up with all like the studio shit.
Mm,
I had my laptop, I had my phone right beside, playing the beat off my laptop to catch on to the phone, and then me spitting into the phone mic. So I remember that like vividly and just being like, okay, I was just doing it for fun then, but like I knew I had something. I wasn't sick. I'm still a student in the game. I would say I'm a lot better. I'm nice. I'm nice with it now. But then it was how you start off. You're gonna be shit at anything, It's literally just practice, practice, practice. If you're
mm,
not if you're not where I'm at in 5 years, just quit
yeah,
type shit.
yeah, yeah. So I looked at your Instagram, of course, and I'm
Mm,
scrolling back and I see you don't have a lot of posts, but I see from 2019. So you've been rapping a long time, like
yeah.
6 years, I think you're saying. But you just started posted. Did you get on IG late or did you revamp your IG? or did you not have it about hip hop rap first and now it is? Tell me about that.
So funny story. I was talking to my coworker about this. I used to
Mm-hmm.
go by a different name. It wasn't Carlito. It was Lethal.
Mm-hmm.
But people didn't understand what I was trying to portray with that because lethal, you think killing, you think guns, you think like just like some evil shit, you know? So I'm like, my thing with lethal was kill them with kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And like I keep that as like my record label name. It's Lethal Advancement Records because we're about to make a killing. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
But kill them with kindness. But with my dad giving me my name, because like his favorite movie was Carlito's Way. So he
Carlito's
named
way.
exactly. So he named me after that movie. I met one Carlito at the CNE 2 years ago,
Mm.
and it was a kid. And then his mom came up to me and said, "Oh, my son's name's Carlito as well." I shook his hand, like he's a little kid. I'm like, I shook his hand. I'm like, you're the first Carlito I've ever met in my life.
Mm.
And I changed my name. I think it was like after that. I don't think it was because of that, but I think it was like right after that. I changed my name from Lethal to Carlito. And I'm like, I want to stay original. I want to stay like true to myself.
Mm.
So that's with where the name change came from. And then back to the IG question, I posted a bunch of stuff. I have like 30 songs out
Yeah.
with Lethal, like as my
Okay.
as my name. I was
Okay.
not proud of those songs, so I didn't like transfer them over to Carlito. But
Okay.
I was like, all right, let me revamp with everything. Another thing is, for some reason, my distributor, DistroKid, deleted all my songs off Spotify and like
Mm.
all the major streaming platforms. So honestly, I was talking to my girl about this like maybe 2 months ago before it even happened.
Mm.
I was like, I might delete everything off my distro just because like I'm not really proud of anything anymore. Obviously, like progression, and I
Mm.
want to keep my SoundCloud for that, but like progression wise, I'm like, or just for what I have out, I'm like, I don't resonate with this anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just delete it. And then she was like, no, keep it, da 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 da. And I was like, all right, fine. And then it just happened naturally. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna run with it now. I'm gonna just drop the best music that I ever made and like be very cohesive and like precise with what I drop instead of just like making something, dropping it, making something, dropping it. That's what I was doing in my early stages.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a high of dropping music and then a low. So I would literally drop something. I put a little bit of promotion. It didn't get the numbers that I wanted to. Sometimes it did, whatever, a couple thousand, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's just not like going the way that I wanted to or not accumulating the numbers that I wanted to. So I'm like, all right, fuck it, on to the next one. But with independent artists, you have to keep pushing. Like, even if you drop a song a fucking year ago, you just keep pushing that song. Like, obviously, you're making other music, but you keep pushing all your music out because, like, if if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it
Mm-hmm.
really make a sound? Type shit.
Yeah.
And like, I
Yeah.
try to live by that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just pushing more and more consistently.
Yo, dropping knowledge. Do you read a lot? Do you read a lot? Because
I don't. I don't. I'm doing this challenge right now with my girl. It's called 75 Hard. I won't go into it like super in depth, but you read 10 pages a day of a book, of a nonfiction book.
yeah.
Last year I did the same thing. I finished like 3 books, and like that's the most I ever read, like ever in my life, accumulatively.
Mm.
So now I just finished Curtis Jackson's Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. Phenomenal book. And the real life experiences that like he writes down in that shit, I'm like, it blends so well with like what I'm doing now, but it's also like I wanted to read it more and more just because like I know 50 Cent. I rate
Yeah.
50 Cent. Now I know
Mm.
like his whole story,
Mm.
you know?
Y-
So now I'm reading more and more, and it helps with everything. You know what I'm saying? Articulating myself. I finally found the voice after this many years that I can be like, okay, like I'm nice with it.
mm.
And now I'm nice with speaking and like articulating myself and like
The
portraying the
expression.
way that I want to. Exactly.
Yeah. Yo, the reason I asked you that, Lito, is because I always tell people that I didn't read as a kid, right? I read a
Same.
few books here and there, and I find that I struggle to find the words to explain what I'm even now, like explain what I'm
Definitely.
talking about. And I don't see that in you. That's why I wanted to ask, because I know a lot of people that were avid readers, and not always just books from school or just reading in general. Because
Yeah,
when you build that vocabulary and when you speak to people, you have word choice. It just comes to you and you know how to describe something, explain something. And I see that in you. And I still struggle to this day. And I'm glad you mentioned 50 Cent because I find I read the books that I enjoy reading because I like that person. So I read Malcolm
exactly.
X's autobiography,
Yeah,
Tupac.
I'm reading that right now.
Yeah, there you go. Eddie Murphy. And I don't feel like putting the book down because I'm just
Exactly.
turning the pages, you know what I mean?
1,000%. You're interested in it instead of
Yeah.
just like you're reading it as if it's being spoken to you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. There you go, man.
Bro,
Okay. Yo, I think this is the time I'm going to ask you the would you rather question. But I'm glad
go
you
ahead.
dropped that because I didn't know you had music out there. So I'm glad you shared that for people that are going to listen. Your circle probably knows what you've been doing, but the SoundCloud, I didn't know this different name. So I'm
Yeah,
glad we touched on that history. But
me
now
too.
it's time for the would you rather question. It's going to be interesting.
Let's get it.
Yeah. Would you rather visit your younger self and give them advice for the future? Or would you rather visit your older self and have them give you advice for what's going on right now?
Bruh. That's deep. That's deep. Oh, I could really go both ways
Mhm.
because, like, of course, I would want that knowledge for my older self, just being like keep on doing what you're doing, or like apply more pressure. But like, I would as well go back to my younger self and say the exact same thing, you know, and like I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I'm sure everybody has their mistakes and they have their own cross to bear. But with that question, I have a question back,
Mhm.
like for that question.
Okay.
If if I go back to my younger self, am I coming back to the place that I'm at with that knowledge that I told myself?
This there lies the rub.
Yeah.
Um yeah. So someone explained it well to me though.
Yeah.
They would like to give their younger self when they chose their younger self, but
Yeah.
they wouldn't want to change the position they are in now, just advice. But it's how you look at it, you know.
Of
So
course.
the question is a question. And I really think if you did go back, this is only my thinking,
Yeah.
did go back to younger self, I don't think you would be on the same path that you are now. Like it would
I
change
don't think so
everything in your
either.
life. You know what I
That's
mean?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
So honestly, with you saying that, I would probably want my older self to give me the advice now so I could go on living the life that the decisions that he made or did not make, you know?
Yeah. Mm.
So
Yo, yeah,
I
go
like
on.
that. I like
Yeah.
that question. I like that question a lot. It really makes you think because like of course I would just want to check my younger self and be like this is where we're at now, but we could be so much farther ahead if you do X, Y, and Z.
Mm,
Or it's like I'm thankful for the position that I'm in right now because it's made me learn a lot. It made me get the girl of my dreams. It made me the man I am today.
mm.
So honestly, with my past, there's nothing I would change. Obviously, I wish things would come sooner, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know, like hindsight 2020.
Yeah.
But I think my older self would be very wise with the way that I'm going in life. I think my older self would be very wise and lead me on the right path
Yeah.
because that's me standing here right now with that knowledge brought to
Exact.
me, you
I see
know,
it. Yo, while you're saying it, I see it, man. I
you know.
see it. And that makes sense. You know what's crazy? I'm glad, yo, this question's deep, man. I need to say
For
something, man. I
sure.
can't go on yet. I find that when people want to go back to their younger self, sometimes they had a really rough life. So it kind of doesn't matter what it would change to in the position they are now. They were so traumatized by certain things
Mhm.
where they just needed to give that advice to their younger self and set them up for the future. But I
Mhm.
noticed there are people that are in a good position now, but they did make mistakes as a younger person. and they would like to give advice, but they don't want to change because it was all a learning experience in their journey.
Of
So
course.
it kind of built that strength for them in that position that they are now. But there's so many different ways you can look at it, man. So many
Definitely.
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deep question for sure.
Mm. Okay. Now, whether you chose younger self or older self, there's four questions. I want to see what you say. I want to hear what you say to this one for sure, man.
Mhm.
So whether you chose your younger self, this is about your younger self. What would you tell your younger self about money?
Don't love it, but use it
Mm,
wisely.
mm,
That's all I have to say to that. Like, because I didn't have a lot growing up, I would always like had this feeling that I can't hold on to it. I
mm,
loved it because like it got me the things that I wanted to get, like the luxuries that I didn't have. But when it ran out, it was like I'm still content. I have food in the fridge, I'm content, you know?
mm.
So I wish I still kept that mentality even with the money in my pocket because like even now I'm getting better at it, but it's like it's like a burning in my pocket.
Yeah.
Like I can't keep it there. I can't keep it in my bank account type shit. So I put in my investments. I put in whatever I need to do. So I can't touch it, you know, and it's literally just growing for me, working for me.
Okay. Nice. What would you tell your younger self about friends?
Don't expect yourself out of people. And like when I was younger, I truly expected myself out of people, and like it burns you, but it's the lessons that you have to learn in life that it's literally just like you treat. There's a saying, I forget who says it, but you treat a snake like a snake. You know, you'll treat a bird like a bird.
Mm,
You'll treat your friend how they treat you. Essentially, it's not like there's ill intent. It's literally just like you'll treat them with the utmost respect. But if they don't respect you, it's not like you're going to disrespect them. It's literally just like, all right, like if that's how the relationship is, that's how the relationship is. You can keep them a meter across.
yo, I never heard this is gonna be in the teaser. I've never heard what you said first about that. Wow. Okay, that was nice. What would you tell
That's
your younger self about family?
mm, like Drake says, keep the family close.
Mm,
That's it. You
mm,
know, like growing up, I always like resented my mom for not like trying harder. It truly didn't hit me until I would say when I started music, maybe a year after I started music, that I was like, I love you for you, and you made me the person that I am today. So I can't blame you for anything that happened in the past.
mm.
That's it.
Yeah. What would you tell your younger self about love?
Don't go spilling your heart out to these shorties, man. They're all most of them cold hearted. They know what they want. They can stay away from you. You have to focus on what you said before: family, friends, and money. Straight. God won. God first. Family, friends, money last.
Mm,
But you can't. I was obsessed with girls back in the day. I was literally just like, I love you type shit. You know, I was literally just
yeah.
like, come on, give me a chance. I was that bigger kid. I was that bigger kid who never got like any shorty's attention. So when when I got to high school, I would literally just whatever came is whatever came, you know? Like I
Yeah.
I dealt I dealt with whatever came. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's easy.
Mm,
I don't really want to pursue because there was so much rejection back in the day. I didn't care to be rejected anymore. I was literally just like, how am I supposed to love myself if I keep getting rejected?
mm.
But it's a numbers game at the end of the day. And truthfully, my girl right now is the first girl that I pursued that I that I like I actually like that I pursued that I got.
Yeah.
And like I love her. She motivates me. We motivate each other. Our relationship's like mad healthy, I would say. And it's literally just like we're working towards building greatness with each other to set up our foundation, inevitably for our future, for our kids, for the family we're going to make.
Amazing.
Yes, sir.
Amazing. Shout out your girl, man.
Shout
Yes.
out Nelly. Shout out
Yeah.
Nelly.
All right. Quickly back to the music now. First of all,
Hmm.
who are your inspirations then, man? Because I interviewed a young rapper the other day, right? And Dyer, and his dad is around my age.
Yeah,
So he grew up with, the hip hop that I grew up with too, plus the
of
new
course.
stuff. But what are your influences? Are you a real school student, I should say, student of the game, or more than you because you're so young?
So I grew up with my uncles. Like I was living with my grandmother for a little bit back in the day, and like my uncles were living with her. So I was always just put on to like 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Pac, of course. Honestly, like all respect to Pac and Biggie, but I never really got into Pac's discography like that. I can't lie.
Mm,
And I need to. Another person who would I say like when I say this on his level would be like Kendrick. I never got into Kendrick's discography like that.
mm,
And like I've only heard good things. All the songs that I've heard are good, but I've never like resonated with it per se. I've
mm,
never like listened to a full album through and through on either of them. But I would say my favorite rapper ever. I don't really like his new music at all. But Eminem
mm.
for sure. Like he's just honestly the greatest rapper of all time. I would say that's literally just me from his old music, his discography, and like how he came out. The Eminem show produced all by him, made all by him. That's absolutely insane to me. And like that's the type of artist that I want to be. That it's literally just like I do my own audio engineering. I don't produce just yet,
Yeah.
but I do my audio engineering. I write everything. It's like that. But I would say Eminem just for his like old school stuff, but 50 Cent for sure.
Mm,
Just of him being a mogul too. It's not even like just him as an artist. It's him as a
yeah.
person
Mm,
that I take bare inspiration from. But new school cats, of course, Drake. We're in Toronto. We gotta love Drake.
mm,
Past couple albums, whatever to me. But like I grew up on like Take Care. If you're
of
reading this is
course.
too late, nothing
Yeah.
was the same.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's it. But J. Cole,
Mm,
my main inspiration, and like not even like I try to, but a lot of people say that I emulate J. Cole just of like one, how I speak, but two, like what I'm actually rapping about and how I'm rapping and like my cadence and everything. So like I take that as a compliment. It's not like I'm out here trying to sound like people, but like J. Cole is fucking sick with it. So if
yeah.
you're comparing me to J. Cole, I'm like, all right, I'll take it. Shit.
Okay. Now, performances. Have you performed places yet? Or
I
is that
have,
you have? Yeah.
I have. So the first year and a half I started doing music, I booked 2 shows. I was trash at this time, by the way.
Mm,
But I booked 2 shows. My friends showed up. I was like sick. It wasn't just my show. It was literally just a thing through this website that like a bunch of artists were performing. It's essentially an open mic that you pay for and you sell tickets to, and you don't get anything from it. I should have gotten the cut, but
mm.
we'll speak about that at a later time. We're gonna be making bags later.
Yeah, yeah.
But but I performed there twice. They were cool, It was good to like get my feet wet with that type of shit.
Mm,
So I'm like, all right. Then time off performing for the longest time. Changed my name to Carlito, and I started performing at this place called Object Studios near the Stockyards.
okay.
Great vibe, great vibe. Open mic there every Tuesday.
Mm,
I went there. I went back there. I performed there one time with my cousin, but I went back there for the second time like months later when I first got together with my girl. I was like, all right, I'm going to take you here.
mm,
Months go by. I finally take her. We just came back from our 1 year in Vancouver. The
mm.
next day, we go to the open mic and I kill it, of course. And yeah, I love standing on stage and like the reason why I don't like doing it all the time is just because it's not like fans. It's literally just like artists that are there more times
Okay.
than not. Some people go there to listen to music, but like more times than not, it's people that want to perform, which is fine. Like I went in there with the intention, yeah, to show off my music, but as well as to get new clientele for my studio. And like
Mm,
I was able to pick up couple cats, but other than that, just trying to get like some actual gigs, some openings for like big artists. But I need to get that music out, like that good music out first.
What are you working on right now? What projects you got going on right now?
Right now, I'm working on a little bit of everything, but like one that I'm trying to get done, I have 6 songs. I'm just trying to make it like a little mixtape.
Mm,
Is just like I've always been in love of mine, so like I had to make like just a whole mixtape talking about my girl
yeah.
and like just like the future, everything like that, the present, the past,
Mm,
like girls who used to deal with in the past, and like just the progression of how I became the man I am today with love. You know, that was one of your questions earlier. What would I tell my younger self with love? And like the whole meaning behind this EP, I would say is that like me telling my younger self, as well as like me where I'm standing at today, and just being like, all right, like you made the right decision. You are where you need to be.
yeah. Yeah.
And then of course I'm trying to drop Hot 16s. I was doing it for a little bit and then like I fell off a little bit because life happens, but like I can't really get at myself. So I do Hot 16s. It's literally just 16 bars. I try to get recommendations from people and then I write something up in the day. It's just lyrical practice. You know, I write it up in the day, post it up. If it does numbers, it does numbers. It's not for people, it's for myself, you know, just to get better day by day.
Mm, I like that. Do you find
Yes,
it
sir.
easy to write now?
For the most part, yeah. It's also beat selection. Like beat selection is a huge thing. I really like this guy on YouTube. His name's Neo,
Mm,
and he just samples bare of like old school tracks, like not super old school that it's like okay, you can flip the sample and it's fine.
mm,
It's like no, like California Love and like Jackson 5 and things like that. And I'm like, this is hard. But he makes beats in a certain way that it's like they don't all sound the same, but they all have like the same like feeling to it. So if I'm in that mood, I was trying to make like a whole EP with his beats,
mm,
but it's
wow.
hard. I made like a couple of tracks and I might throw that into an album later on, but it's just the same vibe. So I have to switch it up sometimes.
Mm,
And like your question about listening to new school people as well as old school people. I mentioned a lot of old school people as well as like J. Cole, Kendrick, and Drake and all that. But like I enjoy listening to the new school music. I'm not gonna lie, like the Lil Uzi Verts.
yeah.
There's this guy named Lil Tyler. Like I love like these new school cats. I would never emulate it,
Mm,
and I do think like it's not. I don't think it's like great music per se, but I don't know. I think it's fun. Like they're doing their thing, you know. Like bro, these guys are 16, 17, doing their thing. Not Lil Uzi, but like these younger guys. I'm like, do your thing. That's it. I
yeah.
wish I was like that confident back in the day.
Mm.
You
I
know.
felt I felt like you were confident though, or you it didn't take you long to be confident, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But
It
I know
took
what
me
you
a
mean.
while. It took
Mm,
me a while. I'm not gonna lie, just because like it took me a while just to find my voice and everything. And like as soon as I found it, like it sounds like I've been here for a minute,
yeah.
you know. But like it took a lot for me to like be comfortable in my own skin, you know. But like now I'm here.
Yo, one thing that I like doing when I did stand-up comedy for like eight
Mhm.
years,
I
I
didn't know you
look,
did that. That's sick.
yeah, I look
Yeah,
back at like some of my old jokes and how I delivered them, like my first time at Yuck Yucks, and
yeah.
then to what I did like 7 or 8 years later near the end. And I
Mhm.
see the progression, and it's nice to see when you
Of course.
actually grow in your journey. So, do you look back? Like I was saying, I went back on your Instagram and I seen you rapping, freestyling on a post, and then I scroll back to see the one that I posted of you on my story
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I see the difference, man. But do
For
you ever
sure.
do that yourself too?
All the time, all the time. That's why I'm keeping like all my stuff that I was under lethal on Spotify or on SoundCloud,
Mm,
just so I can have the people like you go scroll down and just be like, oh, this was like the first thing he dropped. I There's little tidbits, there's little like Easter eggs in my music from back in the day that I was like, I knew I had something. It wasn't the whole track that was like, okay, that slaps, but it was like those little tidbits that it's like, oh, I see what he tried to do there. That's good, but I wish it was longer. Or it's like, that's good, but I wish like the whole song like flowed better
mm,
and things like that. So like I listened to some EPs I dropped back in the day and I'm like, I really like certain things. It's not things I would play like now, but I really like certain things, and it just like reinforce the feeling or knowing that there was something there, and like that's why I've been able to grow into the person that I am, or
Yeah.
artist that I am.
Yes. Yes, sir. I always want to know when people freestyle, did you learn how to breathe because you just keep going? And then I couldn't do that. You know what I mean? So did it
Yeah.
take a while to get that up if you're gonna just spit bars like that with hardly any breaks?
Yeah, no, it's breath training for sure. Like you need to know where the break is. And
Mm,
like sometimes you want to go into something, but it's rather you cut that end word short because essentially you know what I'm going to say there. So it's like, okay, now I have the space to take my breath. But yeah, no, it's breath techniques.
mm,
That's it. And like that's something that I had to develop too. And like that's what helped me with my cadence as well. Cause you sound more confident when you're slower, you know? And it's
yeah.
like taking in what you're actually saying rather than like anyone can people can spit really fast,
Mm,
but it's not really a talent if you're not saying shit all, you know?
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Lito, one of the last things we're gonna do right now though. Um,
Yes, sir.
I have two cards here, and you're gonna tell me which one you want me to read out. The Blue Jays
All right,
or the Raptors?
we're gonna go with your left, so the Raptors.
Everybody chooses the Raptors.
You know, the Blue Jays got out
Yeah.
wild card this year. We have to
True.
choose Raptors. Come on.
True. True. All right. Name one challenging thing you had to overcome in life.
One challenging thing I had to overcome in life. Thinking just one, I'm like, shit. Like actually zoning into it. I'm like, what's one challenging thing? Honestly, it would probably have to be my grandmother passing away. Like that was huge. I was very young, but like she took me in when I was very young,
Hmm.
and like she just meant the world to me. She was like where I get my most of my energy from. I'm not gonna lie, like just like with how chill I am, and like I'm an introvert for the most part, but I'm an extroverted introvert. So like
Hmm.
put me in the setting and like I will be an extrovert, but more times than not I'm an introvert. Like I definitely do have a social battery, but back to my grandmother. She was an amazing woman and like just provided for everybody. Even when she didn't have it, she provided, and that's where I get like my big heart from.
Hmm.
She was definitely my rock. And finding my girl now, like I haven't loved someone like sorry to even say it, but like I haven't loved a girl as much as my grandmother until my girl came along into my life. Like even my mom, like my aunt, like there was a different type of love there,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
So God rest her soul. She was an amazing woman,
No, thanks for sharing.
of course.
Um, I know that question, a lot of people have so many things. The other question is most memorable moment.
Mm-hmm.
Challenging is the other one. And yeah, people start going through their brain like, which one do I choose? You know what I mean? Because there's so many things that
Yeah,
we go through. And you too, at
of
your young
course.
age, that was a good example, man. Your
Yeah, and
grandma.
it's like it's how vulnerable you want to be too.
Mm,
You know, like it's a great question. And like I'm sure I have a lot of things. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of things, but it's like what you want to give out into the world right now, at
mm,
least, you know. So
yeah.
that just to leave you with like how much she meant to me and like how my arc essentially was forged, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boom. Thanks for sharing that, boy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We're at the point now where I do the donations.
Yes, sir.
And now you're going to tell me by my hands which balloon you want me to pop. Is it the left, the middle, or the right? The charities for this season, like I tell everybody, is Claws, Kawartha Lakes Animal Wellness Society. the Fundraiser Warriors, and Make-A-Wish Foundation. Which one do you want me to pop?
All right, we're gonna go with the blue one. We're gonna go with the middle.
Middle.
Yes,
everyone's choosing the middle. Let's go. Right. Season 8, LITO, Star Scorpio will be donating to, oh yeah, the Fundraiser Warriors. Oh my gosh, these little boys raise some money for some good causes. So that is amazing.
Good stuff.
All right, LITO, before we go, let the people know where they can find you.
All right. You guys can find me at Instagram _LLITO_. That's on Instagram _LLITO_ for LITO. Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks for coming out. This is Real Talk with Star Scorpio. And we out.
Thank you for having me. Boom.